Hello guys, so in today's video we're actually going to talk about the Trump involvement in the Rwanda and Congo conflict, where he has been involved in brokering peace between the two nations, and to some it seems like Trump is super hungry for a Nobel Peace Prize award, while to others they seem like he's brokering a deal that has seen a conflict that has lingered for a very long time. Even the ones that went to negotiate see him like a president who has helped them overcome this long-term war. But there is a lot to unpack in this, so let's just take a listen.
We're getting for the United States a lot of the mineral rights from the Congo as part of it. They're so honored to be here. They never thought they'd be coming to, look, this is a very tough part of the world. They never thought, they were just telling me, they never thought they'd ever be coming to the White House, and they're so honored. And so we're going to give them a great big reception, but that's after many years of fighting. She's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I said it anyway.
Today, he signed another peace deal, this time in Africa. Rwanda and the Congo came to the White House to end their 30-year war. The peace treaty was brokered by Trump and Rubio, and the Africans say Biden just hung up the phones on them.
Many American presidents overlooked this conflict. They didn't do nothing. Even myself, I covered President Biden's administration. I pressed many times about this conflict. People are dying in Congo. This country has so much potential, but they need help because this war is destroying the country.
Right.
They never gave me any answer.
I shouldn't say this because it's politically incorrect. She said, she's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I said it anyway. But you are beautiful. We're getting for the United States a lot of the mineral rights from the Congo as part of it. They're so honored to be here. They never thought they'd be coming to, look, this is a very tough part of the world. They never thought, they were just telling me, they never thought they'd ever be coming to the White House.
Did y'all see that news conference? Trump said, we beat the hell out of them damn people. Y'all, let's go over here and watch it together.
Sir, are you concerned at all about secret nuclear sites in Iran? You talked about maybe just
Secret nuclear site?
Yes, that there might be some of those
Not
known
really.
radar.
Can I tell you? They're exhausted.
Somebody call Joe Biden to teach these folks how to sleep.
They're exhausted. The last thing they're thinking about right now is nuclear. You know what they're thinking of? They're thinking about tomorrow, trying to live. It's such a mess.
He said y'all looking a mess.
It's such a mess. The place was bombed to hell.
Oh, damn, Trump.
You have to tell the truth. You got beat to hell. And Israel was beat up too.
If I don't give a fuck what's a person, it'd definitely be him.
And it was a great time to end it. It was quick. They got the hate out. There was a lot of hate. A lot of hate. It would be great if they didn't have that hate. But the last thing they're thinking about is nuclear weapons right now.
That's my president. I'm so glad I stuck with Trump all these many years. I may say something wrong about Trump that he was doing, but I ain't flipped. I'll argue with y'all about stuff that I don't agree with, but I'm still standing here. Hey, let's go, Trump.
Here's what's going to happen after this peace agreement was signed between Congo and Rwanda. What type of narrative that will come out of this is that he cares about Congolese people and the atrocities that have been going on there, and that he wants peace to happen all across the world, and that he cares about the Black and brown community, whether if it's here in the United States or in other parts of the world. Because I don't believe for a second that he did this because he actually cares. No, he did this because he wants to bring in American companies to take over those mines, to get high profit margins, because those minerals are what powers our technology. And as you know, what modern day and age that we are in, it's like the one thing that everyone is trying to get at this time.
So today, Trump openly admits that the U.S. has been involved in the conflicts in the Congo. Let me explain. So today, I guess the Congo and Rwanda signed a peace deal at the White House. But instead of talking about the peace deal, Trump goes to talk about how much American companies are going to get from the minerals in Congo. In fact, he goes on to brag about this as if it was the whole point. Well, actually, it's no secret. This has been the whole point of the war in Congo. It's to get to the minerals. The U.S., they have been funding rebel groups in the Congo for decades, and a lot of people have died. And it's really no surprise, you know, even though they do sometimes go against like Rwanda, they are secretly have been backing Rwanda and the M23 for many years just so that they can get to the minerals in Congo. This is no secret.
You probably haven't heard much about the war in Congo, but it's one of the worst conflicts on the planet. And now, for the first time in years, we may finally be looking at peace, thanks to Donald Trump. Over the past 2 decades, millions have lost their lives in eastern Congo. Just this year alone, over 7,000 people lost, more than 500,000 forced to flee their homes. Why? Because Rwanda-backed rebels, mainly M23, have been fighting Congo's government forces and rival militias. It's been brutal. But now there's a breakthrough. On June 27th, today, in Washington, D.C., Congo and Rwanda signed a U.S. brokered peace deal. And here's what's in it. Both sides agreed to immediately stop funding any armed groups, including M23 and the FDLR. Rwanda will withdraw its troops from Congo within 90 days. All militias must disarm or be absorbed into national forces under international supervision. They're also setting up joint border patrols and a regional security framework. But there's more. The Congo is rich in critical minerals, cobalt, coltan, copper, the stuff that powers smartphones and electric cars. This deal also gives the U.S. a major foothold in that supply chain, challenging China's grip on the region. So, is this peace or just a pause? We've seen broken promises before, but if this deal holds, it could change the future of Central Africa.
Donald Trump outdoes himself again. I want you to take 5 seconds and listen to what he has to say. And I firmly believe he means every daggone word.
Mr. President, Kara Castanova from Lindell TV. Now that your administration, and congratulations, has secured peace in Africa to a bloody, horrific war that's gone on for decades and no other president could do it, do you think the mainstream media will finally...
I'm telling you, but you're right. No other president could do it. They tried, and they didn't even try. I actually don't think they tried. Do you think Biden tried? He didn't know he was alive.
Do you think the mainstream media will finally give you credit where credit is due?
No. The media will never give me credit.
He's right.
But the people give me credit. That's why I'm here.
Yes, we do. Amen.
The people didn't give me. That's why we're here in a landslide. We got all 7 states. We won the popular vote. So the media won't give me credit, but the people give me credit. That's more important to me.
And he means that. He cares about the people of America. He don't give 2 shits about the media. Doesn't matter what he does. They try to bring him down. It's abominable. He is the people's president.
So a number of people would ask themselves, why is the US involving himself in the Rwanda-Congo conflict? And I'm just going to bring you different contexts. And one of them is going to be the historical context, where the DRC Congo, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has been plagued by conflict since the 1990s, has largely, due to its failout from the 1994 Rwanda genocide, has armed groups like the M23, which is allegedly backed by Rwanda, have destabilized the eastern Congo for decades. Another context is that strategic interest, where the US has been long-term interested in the region. This is because it has a vast reserve of critical minerals like the cobalt and coltan and those whatever minerals you've had, including those vibraniums. Apparently, those minerals that are used in manufacturing of things like smartphones, electric vehicles, and military tech. China has dominated this sector for the longest, and the US is now actively trying to counter that influence. The third context has to be the humanitarian crisis, with over 7 million people displaced and millions killed since the 1990s. The United Nations has always called it one of the world's most complex humanitarian crises. Now, the US has provided aid and diplomatic pressure over the years, but has it brokered a major peace deal until now? I think so, following the previous days that Donald Trump has been having negotiation with the 2 sides. Why is Donald Trump actually involved in all this? One of it is to broker the deal. In June 2025, just like 3 days ago, Donald Trump brokered the peace agreement between Rwanda and DRC Congo, and the deal was signed in Washington, D.C. with both countries' foreign ministers present alongside US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Yes, there was a powerful speech and praise by both sides, and how Donald Trump dealt with that. Also, Trump's statement, which is he called it one of the worst wars anyone has ever seen, as we've heard, and also claims that he was able to get them together and sell it in quotes, you know. He emphasizes that US would gain a lot of minerals rights from Congo as part of the deal, with people approximating it to be at roughly 2.4 trillion. Oh my god, that's a lot of money. People are also struggling the context as to why they would approach Donald Trump and not just anyone else. Why not the African Union? Why not the African presidents? Why did they go to Donald Trump? And have they tried in the previous administration? Well, we have to look at certain factors like the influence and leverage in this context, where Trump still holds a significant global influence and has strong ties with business and diplomatic networks. Also, there's this issue of transactional diplomacy, where his administration is known for deal making, and both Rwanda and Congo might have seen him as someone who could deliver a result-driven agreement rather than just approaching maybe the heads of African Union. They just had to bypass the African trading blocks and economic blocks and just go straight to Donald Trump. Another thing is the US leverage. The US has for the longest offered diplomatic legitimacy, which has created potential security support and economic incentives, and in exchange for, and doing so, they would do in exchange for peace commitments. To many people, it's just a tip of the iceberg, because other than just offering security, they feel like US involvement in these mineral deals and brokerage of peace in other countries, especially in Africa and the Middle East, has been quoted with the US is bringing freedom, US is bringing peace in the region. But after this deal has ended, it's now the time that people reflect back and see like the damage or the downside of involving US in the business. Before I even come out with more commentary about these issues, I want us to take a little bit of opinions from netizens.
Finally, the deal is done, the deal is signed. I am so upset, I'm so sad, I'm so mad. I have no words to express how terrible this situation, this agreement, this whole thing that Congo just did is. After so much talk and so much explanation, analysis, DRC Congo decided to sell and give up their own portion of Africa. The map of Africa is no longer complete, because we see what happened between Iran and US. Iran decided to keep the entirety of their oil, their uranium, and all their mineral resources. They fought for it over the years. And at the same time, Africa, that is like a fight between husband and wife, Rwanda and Congo, they could not come to peace agreement by themselves, and nobody in Africa could settle them until they have to invite the United States of America to settle them, to cut out the peace deal in Congo. Congo is one of the richest country with mineral. Congo, as a matter of fact, has what it takes to manage the entire Africa. But few months ago, about a few weeks ago, I did a video on Congo, what they were about to do. And some of you were sending me messages that it's not real, it can never happen. What did you see today? They have just penned. They have just signed. Just about 3 or 4 days ago, I did a video warning Africa to be careful about signing a lot of things, especially in desperation. Now you see all of them pack themselves in Oval Office, smiling and excited and saying, oh, glory be to God, we are able to come to Oval Office. We are able to see White House. We are able to see this. So they were so carried away by emotion. Listen. While US is smiling to bank and securing the future of their citizens and their unborn children, Rwanda and Congo, they are depriving the next generation of the opportunity to live a good life. And now, who are the people fighting without stopping? They are the people between the age of 18 and 30. These are the people that won't allow Congo and Rwanda to have peace with all manner of bloodshed for over 21 years or thereabout. And who are the people they are fighting for? They are fighting to defend the people that are over 60, people that are going on the other side of life. What a disappointment in Africa today. This is not in any way to blame the United States of America. Donald Trump is doing what is best for America. Is doing what is best for the United States of America. Is doing what is best for the Western world. But our people are signing away the future of Africa. They are dismantling the future of Africa. They are messing up the future of Africa. This is just unbelievable. Where do we stop from here? And that is why Africa Human Capacity Development Initiative is a must right now. If you love Africa and you want the best for Africa, this is the time for you to support Africa Human Capacity Development. This is the time for you to say, this is where I belong in this initiative. I'm looking for individuals that will come on their own, conglomerates, institutions that will come and say, we want to develop our people. This is bad. I wanted to share this. Here is my question. Should we continue in this direction? Is this the best way to build a nation, a continent? When we cannot just stop fighting ourselves, we are divided by politics, by religion, by clan, by ethnicity. What? President Felix, what? Kagame, what? Dr. Paul Kagame, what? What are both of you looking for? What are you looking for? This is an embarrassment to the entire continent and to the entire world. The world is laughing at us. They are laughing at us. Look at these people. They just want to take pictures in the White House. Look at these people. We have betrayed our intellectual capacity. We have betrayed the next generation. This is a mess. Africa, it's time to wake up. It's time to rise up. It's time to rebuild. It is not time to be emotional. It is time to think. Come on now. I don't even have a word to say right now. If you love what I'm doing here and you want to be part of this movement, spread this, share this. First of all, just share this and hit that plus button to follow. We need to take this page higher because I've got so many things on my document here to review to you guys. If not, Africa will be sold and we will be enslaved in our own land. Listen, what they have just signed right now, I can't even explain to you the problem this is going to cost in the nearest future. I can't even start explaining, analyzing to you. Whatever your thought is, leave into the comment section. If you agree with President Felix and Congo for signing away their mineral resources, like endless mineral resources, Jesus Christ. Even President Trump could not believe that this was going to be possible. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. Look at the way they were just, everybody sitting, they were just looking. He couldn't believe it. He's just smiling. It's like, they're so easy. Disappointed. Sad. Unbelievable. Incomprehensible. What? In 21st century? This tells me that yes, Africa Human Capacity Development, we must make sure it happens. We must make sure this happens as fast as possible. So if you are in for this, join hand with me as we take this movement to every corner, to every street. Our people must be educated. They must be informed. We must give them the right knowledge.
So guys, after listening to all the netizens' opinions, we've got like different perspectives, how people think about the deal, what are their opinions on these matters, and I just want to expand on what they have said or what they have not said, and we'd ask ourselves like, what are the issues that were discussed in the deal? And here is a clear look at the key provisions of the US brokered peace agreement signed on June 27, 2025. So the first item was obviously the disengagement and withdrawal, where Rwanda agreed to disengage its forces from Eastern Congo, a term chosen chosen over withdrawal to allow diplomatic flexibility. We've all known about the rebel group M23 and the accusations that Rwanda has faced about funding that group, spewing war over that region. Well, Rwanda has now agreed to disengage. I don't know if it's now trying to talk to M23 to withdraw. The agreement references a 90-day timeline for this process. Despite this agreement, critics note that the language is vague and doesn't explicitly mention Rwandan troops. And this is where I'm saying the M23. I think it's the M23 that are being talked to withdraw. Also, Rwanda has pledged to lift its defensive measures, which it put it in quotes, which may include pulling back troops stationed near or inside Congolese territory. This involves official Rwandese troops, the military, and also the rebel group, the M23, which it's alleged. I'm not saying it's true, but it's alleged. And the item number 2 was disarmament and the reintegration. Well, this means that armed groups like the M23 are expected to disarm and undergo conditional integration into national forces or civilian life. They have to back off. Like, they need to stop that military infiltration and just go back to Rwanda and live a normal life. Despite this being put in force, the M23 was not directly involved in the negotiations and has already signaled that it may not honor the deal. Remember, this M23 is just acting in terms of proxies. Do you know when, let's say, a nation is facing something and government uses a goon or a militia group in order to use violence in order to enforce something? I think this is something that it happens in almost every country, and Rwanda is among that. The agreement calls for the neutralization of the FDLR, a Hutu militia Rwanda sees as a threat but offers no clear enforcement mechanism. We have to understand this, that during the genocide there are two warring communities, the Hutu and the Tutsi, and it seems like most of the Hutu community went to the other side of DR Congo, and now Rwanda continues seeing them as a threat because these Hutu people want to attack Rwanda as a form of revenge because of that genocide thing. And the item number 3 is the territorial integrity and ceasefire, where both countries have reaffirmed respect for each other's sovereignty and agreed to cease all hostilities, including support for proxy militias. The deal is bound to prohibit any military incursions or support for armed groups operating across borders. Item number 4 was the humanitarian and civilian protection. Now, this agreement includes provision for the safe return of refugees and internally placed persons, that is the IDPs, and for humanitarian access to conflict zones where NGOs like Red Cross, the UN can access now to take supplies to the sick or food items to those people who are in camps. Yes, it does not address justice or accountability for war crimes, including the SV, which has been a major concern for civil society groups. But in a way, for now, it's just trying to address like the things that they can do in the short run, and then thereafter they can look at these things in a broad context. Finally, we have the economic clause where US has secured access to Congo's critical minerals, including cobalt, coltan, and lithium, which is essential for tech and defense industries. A regional economic integration framework is mentioned in this deal, but details are scarce. Critics also argue that this makes the deal free transaction, prioritizing US strategic interests over long-term peace. And this is where now people have been angered by that, airing the opinion that US is just involving themselves in this because they are gonna benefit through the minerals. They feel like these two countries have just gone back to square one, but others feel like because US can actually exclusively control the mining sites and doing direct transaction between these two warring countries, it might be beneficial because now it limits the use of excessive force in order to access these minerals. It's just a two-way. Some people feel like it's the right thing, some people don't feel like that. How can we conclude this? So this is a peace deal, and some people feel like it's a power play. Well, the agreement marks a historic moment after decades of bloodshed. It's a reminder that diplomacy often comes with strings attached. The absence of key rebel groups like M23 from the table raises serious doubts about enforcement. And with the US gaining access to Congo's mineral wealth, some are calling this a less of a peace treaty and more of a business transaction. But for the millions displaced, for the families torn apart, and for the children growing up in a war zone, even a fragile peace is better than none. The real test will be what happens next. Will the guns go silent? Will the minerals bring prosperity or more exploitation? And will the people of Congo and Rwanda finally get justice and dignity they deserve? Let me know what you think in the comment section down there below. Share your thoughts. Is this a turning point or just another chapter in a long, painful story? Please share your thoughts. Also, don't forget to go and check the original creators. Their usernames have been embedded in the stitch videos as always. Go on to their TikToks, follow, like. For this channel, make sure you smash a huge thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on post notification so that you may not miss my next uploads. Let me meet you in the next one. Peace out.